Singapore approaches her 50th year of independence, and we explore Singapore's connections with Europe since her founding in 1819, as Sir Stamford Raffles of the East India Company selected her as a trading port. Nestled in a cozy town on the eastern side of Singapore is an association at 139 Ceylon Road. It is the Eurasian Association, and it serves an estimate of 2,000 members. The Eurasian Association was formed in 1919 and is a place where the Eurasian people may gather and participate in various activities together. We visit the EA and speak with the friendly people there to find out more. Ms. Phillips introduces us to the EA culture and shows us around the museum. The EA connects Singapore and Europe in a very special way. The members are of European descent, and the culture and practices of European people immersed in local Asian culture are preserved. Before the East India Company, Singapore had been a fishing village with the population consisting of mostly Malay and Chinese people. After signing of the treaty with the Tunku, son of the Johor king, the East India Company was free to utilize Singapore as a trading port. Sir Stamford Raffles worked to establish schools and churches in the native languages, allowing missionaries and local businesses to flourish. Traders from all other parts of Europe heard of this port with stable waters and calm shores and came down to Singapore to trade. A European town was quickly built within this community, and in there were soon a notable number of European people living with the local Asian population of Malays, Chinese, and Indians in Singapore. Through this time, the British officials were encouraged to intermarry with the locals. Major General William Farquhar was one such example. Officials were also incentivized to pick up local dialects or languages, and William Farquhar himself could converse in Malay. With churches and schools using English as the main mode of instruction, the European culture started taking root in the Singapore way of life. Today, English is one of 4 main official languages, along with Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil, and is a compulsory subject for all students studying in government schools. About 20% of the population is Christian as well. The Europeans of the past have also left descendants, and today they are notably known as the Eurasian people, one of the 4 official races.
Eurasians are a mix, of European and Asian. Maybe just a little brief history about the 3 main groups. The first is the Portuguese. They came in 1511 to Malacca, followed by the Dutch and then the British. So no surprise that most of the Eurasians in Singapore are of Portuguese descent, and then others are of Dutch and British descent. In terms of bridging the gap, I would say over the years, because these Eurasians have been staying in Asia, in Singapore, for many years, they associate more with the place where they live, and so they associate themselves more as Singaporeans and not really as Europeans. But what they keep from the European side is the traditions that were passed down. So the Portuguese, they brought the love for music, for dancing, that is still very much alive in the Eurasian culture. Parties, celebrating, all our New Year's Eve, Christmas parties. The Dutch, they brought perhaps their regimented style of administration and to maintain ties, locally as well as with the neighboring countries. For the British, they emphasize the need for a common language and for education. So English as a common language, and getting a good education and will give better prospects in career, and generally in life.
Despite having been present in Singapore since the early 19th century, the Eurasian community has not seemed to be very much known.
I would say up till now, over the years, there will definitely be those who feel that we are still not a known presence or community. I mean, we're a minority, 17,000 in Singapore. So we could definitely hope to see more involvement or people knowing who are Eurasians, and understanding the culture more. The identity of the Eurasian community is still, it is still more for it to grow and for people to know about Eurasians.
Singapore has come a long way from her early days as a fishing village. As we move into her 50th year of independence, we celebrate connections with countries that have helped to build her as a nation. Europe, predominantly represented by the English and Dutch, is no exception. There is great beauty in Eurasian culture, with its unique mix of East and West. Though the Eurasian culture in Singapore has unique roots in Singapore's colonial history, it remains yet to be seen if the culture will be preserved in time to come, even as intermarriages and wider integration increase. As Singapore celebrates her 50th birthday, let us take time to strengthen relations and existing bonds by starting with a better understanding of people we hold dear connections with.